It's recording. Hallo zusammen and welcome to lesson number 7 in the 30 Part series German in 30 days. We've made it so far, guys. Today we are going to be talking about, almost exclusively, verbs. Ta-da! Verbs are so powerful, so mighty. They determine so much what's going on in a sentence, at least in a German sentence. Like if I said, ich möchte einen Kaffee bitte, it's möchte that determines the fate of this indefinite article ein, so to speak, because möchte demands the accusative case, as we know, and this accusative case results in this declension en at the end of this indefinite article ein. So einen Kaffee because of möchte. So we know a lot about German verbs already, don't we? We've learned how to conjugate some regular verbs. We've learned how to conjugate the irregular verbs sein and haben. Today we will level up your German verb skills and we will move on to a very peculiar category, the separable versus inseparable verbs. So we will learn how to conjugate those. We will learn what factors determine whether or not a verb is separable or inseparable, and obviously how to use them in a sentence. That's the point, isn't it? After that, we will get to know another less peculiar category, the German reflexive verbs, by means of the reflexive pronoun sich. We'll see whether or not there are any reflexive verbs in English. Spoiler alert, we can scrape together some to set the stage, right, by comparing and contrasting. Love doing it. So you'd better make friends with German verbs, speaking from experience. And at the very end, I've got a word formation pattern for you to form nouns by means of verbs and the ending on. Very practical, trust me. So let's get started. So in today's text, Yuki is going to a party. She's got an invitation, and as you know, the text is a comprised version of what I'm about to teach you. It's got a lot of separable, inseparable verbs and a lot of reflexive verbs, and let's see how this is dealt with in German. Einladung zum Essen. Invitation to dinner. Yuki kommt nach Hause. Frau Glück hat einen Brief für sie. Yuki macht den Brief auf. Sie liest: Einladung zum Abendessen am Samstag, den 1. April um 19:30 Uhr bei Familie Gebhardt. UAWG, Gabi und Johannes Gebhardt. So in this box, it's obviously this invitation, right? Yuki, das ist aber nett, aber wer ist denn die Familie Gebhardt? Frau Glück, Frau Gebhardt ist eine Kollegin. Herrn Gebhardt kenne ich auch. Sie sind ein nettes Ehepaar. Frau Gebhardt ist übrigens eine ausgezeichnete Köchin und Herr Gebhardt ein Weinkenner. Das klingt gut. Ich nehme die Einladung an. Aber was ziehe ich bloß an? Vielleicht das hübsche rote Kleid. Machen Sie sich schick. Etwas verstehe ich nicht. Was heißt OAWG? Um Antwort wird gebeten. Ich rufe Frau Gebhardt an und sage zu. Was bringen wir denn mit? Wir kaufen am besten einen Blumenstrauß und eine Flasche Wein. Am Samstagabend sind Frau Glück und Yuki bei Familie Gebhardt. Herr Gebhardt bietet einen Aperitif an. Herr Gebhardt, möchten Sie einen Sherry? Ja, gerne. Gebhardt zu Frau Glück. Angelika, nimmst du auch einen Sherry? Ja, bitte. Gebhardt erhebt sein Glas. Auf die Geste. Zum Wohl. Ich möchte mich für die freundliche Einladung bedanken. Das Essen ist fertig. Wollen wir uns an den Tisch setzen? Was gibt's denn Gutes? Wiener Schnitzel mit Kartoffelsalat. Bitte, bedienen Sie sich. Separable and inseparable verbs. To start this conversation, we need to identify what determines whether or not a German verb is separable or inseparable. And the answer is the prefixes. The prefixes, morphologically speaking, they come in front of words and they can change the meaning of those words entirely. Like if I said, he is capable of doing the dishes, as opposed to saying he is totally incapable of doing the dishes, right? So the negative prefix in negates the meaning of capable, like completely changes it, doesn't it? Same applies to understand as opposed to misunderstand, able, unable, and so on and so forth. Same principle applies to German. So if I said Yuki kommt aus Japan, as opposed to Yuki bekommt eine Einladung, as opposed to Yuki kommt in Deutschland an. So, sie kommt aus Japan, sie bekommt eine Einladung. Bekommt has nothing to do with to become. False friends, alarm. So bekommt eine Einladung means she gets an invitation, right? And kommt in Deutschland an, the verb is ankommen, means she arrives in Germany. Alright? So, our question was, what determines whether or not a verb is separable or inseparable? So, those are the prefixes themselves. And we will go through some of them in a moment to see and to learn what prefixes like are separable and what prefixes are inseparable. Okay? So if I said, ich rufe dich morgen am Nachmittag an. The verb is anrufen, to call somebody. So, notice what's happened to an, the prefix an. It is moving to the very end of the sentence. Ich rufe dich morgen am Nachmittag an. So I love watching my students, their facial expressions. Like they manage to say ich rufe dich. By the way, anrufen always demands the accusative case. That's why it's dich. Then they also have to give specific information when, why. And most of them forget about an, which is super understandable because this is like super unheard of, unknown and peculiar, right? So ich rufe dich morgen Nachmittag an. So are you ready to learn some of the frequently used separable prefixes in German? Let's do this. Based on the example anrufen, we can say an is one of those prefixes frequently used, very common. An. Okay? Another example is abholen. Jemanden abholen. So to pick somebody up. Ab, again, goes at the end of the sentence. Ich hole dich später ab. Okay? I'll pick you up later. Right. In the text, Yuki macht den Brief auf. Okay? Auf is one of those prefixes. Aufmachen, to open. So another prefix is aus, as in ausfüllen, an inevitable activity in German if you want to get anything from the Kreisverwaltungsreferat. You need to fill in the form, usually the forms in the plural. So ein Formular ausfüllen. Okay? Bitte füllen Sie dieses Formular aus. Aus? Ausfüllen. So, another one is ein, as in einkaufen. Go shopping. Sie kauft im Supermarkt ein. Einkaufen. Another one is mit, as in mit kommen or mit bringen in the text. Was sollen wir mitbringen? To take something with you, like to a party, right? Mitbringen. Wir können, was sagt Frau Glück? Wir können eine Flasche Wein mitbringen oder wir bringen eine Flasche Wein mit. Ich bringe einen Salat mit. Ich bringe eine Pizza mit. Another one is for, as in vorbereiten, to prepare. Okay? Ich muss mich für die Prüfung vorbereiten. I know it's complicated. Don't pay attention. Ich bereite mich vor. Let's put it this way. Ich bereite mich vor. Right? Now you know. Right? You can connect those dots. Bereite, for belongs to bereite actually. It's vorbereiten. And to give even more information away, it's actually sich vorbereiten, which is a reflexive verb. More to it in a second. Okay? Another one is zu, as in zusagen. Frau Glück says, ich rufe Frau Gebhardt an und sage zu, meaning to accept. Okay? Zusagen. Ich sage zu. So, based on the example sentence, what rule can we derive? Very simple. The separable prefix goes at the end of the sentence in an affirmative statement, in a positive statement. Ich rufe dich morgen Nachmittag an. An goes at the end of the sentence. Ich hole dich später ab. Ab goes at the end of the sentence. Right? So, what happens in questions? Let's have a look. Holst du sie bitte ab? Rufst du mich bitte an? The same principle. In questions, the separable prefix goes at the end of the question. So what happens in sentences with modal verbs and separable verbs? Separable verbs, they stay intact. The prefix must not be separated. As an entity, they go at the end of the sentence, right? So, for example, Frau Glück will Frau Gebhardt anrufen. Anrufen stays at the same, stays together at the end of the sentence, right? Frau Gebhardt möchte Yuki einladen. Einladen stays intact, together, put together at the end of the sentence. Time to consolidate our knowledge by practicing a bit. Are you up for this challenge? Of course you are. So look at the example sentence and make sentences with separable prefixes. The example sentence is Yuki holt den Brief ab. Okay? Right. Sentence number 1. Satz Nummer 1. That's what I was going to say. We've got Yuki, the separable verb ausgehen, and heute Abend. Ausgehen is go away, go out. Yuki geht heute Abend aus. Satz Nummer 2. We've got Antrag. Sie ausfüllen diesen müssen. Aha, modal verb. Right. Subject, sie, right? Sie, then what is the rule like? Müssen, second position, right? Sie müssen, and then the object, diesen Antrag, and then ausfüllen. Fill in, right? Sie müssen diesen Antrag ausfüllen. Okay? Nummer 3. It's a question. It's a question with a question word. We've got was. Separable verb anziehen, put on. So was ziehe ich heute Abend an? Right? What, literally, what am I putting on tonight? Right? Was ziehe ich heute Abend an? Nummer 4. Question with a modal verb. Was darf ich, subject, Ihnen anbieten? Anbieten, separable verb, stays put together at the end, and it means to offer something. Right? Was darf ich Ihnen anbieten? Nummer 5. So, ich den mitnehmen. Aha, separable verb mitnehmen. Ich, subject, nehme den Regenschirm, and then the sentence is incomplete. Where is the prefix mit? Mit, full stop. Ich nehme den Regenschirm mit. Gut, Nummer 6. Okay, annehmen is accept. UK, what is she doing? Annehmen, nehmen, irregular verb. Ich nehme, du nimmst sie nimmt, right? So, Yuki nimmt die Einladung an. Sehr gut. Some of the important inseparable prefixes are be, as in bekommen, right? So to get something, or bezahlen, to pay something. Imp, as in empfehlen, to recommend something, okay? And as in entscheiden, to decide something. As in erklären, to explain something. Ge, as in gefallen, to like something. Ver, as in versuchen, to attempt something. And zer, as in zerstören, to destroy something. An example with bezahlen. Ich bezahle an der Kasse den Einkauf. Sie empfehlen telefonisch einen Termin zu vereinbaren. Sie entscheidet sich, nicht zu kommen. Er erklärt, was los ist. Das Kleid gefällt ihr nicht. Sie versucht, auf Deutsch zu sprechen. Sehr gut. Das Unwetter zerstört meine Pläne. The bottom line is, we need to pay serious attention to separable prefixes. Okay? We must not forget about the prefixes, separable prefixes, at the end of the statements. Reflexive verbs are next on the agenda. And I've promised you to compare and contrast, and I remember being told at uni that very few English verbs take the reflexive pronoun oneself, right? So to avail oneself of an opportunity, right? To apply oneself, I've learned by reading The Catcher in the Rye, to help oneself, to brace oneself, to enjoy oneself. That's pretty much it. If it's not, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to learn more. What is the situation like in German? In German, we are surrounded by limitless reflexive verbs. We start our day with sich, actually. So we go to the bathroom, right? So we get up, which is the separable verb aufstehen, and then we go to the bathroom, and then we begin our day by using sich, actually. So, sich die Zähne putzen, with a toothbrush, right? Sich waschen, right? Or sich duschen, take a shower. Sich die Haare kämmen, with a comb. What else do we do? We go to the bedroom to put things on, right? So, ich ziehe mich an, right? Sich anziehen. At the end of the day, sich ausziehen or sich umziehen, to get changed. It's a lot. So, listen for sich. You should be listening for sich in a German conversation. If you hear sich, chances are high that you are dealing with a reflexive verb. Try to identify what the verb is, right? And then put sich in front of it. And you've got, for example, sich bedanken. So, let's take a look at the sich, what happens to sich with personal pronouns, right? Ich bedanke mich für die Einladung, right? I thank you for the invitation. And you just say thank you for the invitation, right? Ich bedanke mich. Bedanke, mich bedanken. So, sich bedanken demands the accusative case. Ich bedanke mich. Du bedankst dich. Er bedankt sich. Sie bedankt sich. Es bedankt sich. Wir bedanken uns. Ihr bedankt euch. Sie bedanken sich. So, who's been paying attention? Er, sie, es, sie, sie. What's the pronoun like? Sich. Er bedankt sich. Sie bedankt sich. Es bedankt sich. Sie bedanken sich. Sie bedanken sich. That's correct. So let's learn some of the reflexive verbs in German. So we've got sich bedanken, then we've got sich amüsieren in German self, sich vorstellen, to introduce oneself, sich setzen, to sit down, sich bewerben, to apply for a job, right? Sich ärgern, to get angry. Sich freuen, to look forward to something. Exercise time, fill in the reflexive pronouns. Nummer 1. Yuki macht schick. Yuki, it's a she, sie. Yuki macht sich schick. Nummer 2. Ich bedanke mich für das Essen. Nummer 3. Wir amüsieren uns. It's the same as the personal pronouns in the accusative case, isn't it? Wir uns. Wir amüsieren uns. Nummer 4. Bitte bedienen Sie sich. Nummer 5. Frau Glück und Yuki freuen, so sie, sich über die Einladung. Did you know that many German nouns are formed by means of verbs and the ending as in bedienen? In a Bavarian beer garden, when you want to pay, you call for Bedienung, the waiter or the waitress, right? Die Bedienung. So you've got the verb bedienen, you get rid of the ending en, you replace it with the ending and you've got Bedienung. And because based on our first or second lesson, is always die, we've got die Bedienung, right? Then we've got begrüßen, to greet somebody. Begrüßen, get rid of en, replace it with Begrüßung. That's right, die Begrüßung, the greeting. Let's form some German nouns based on this word formation pattern. We've got beraten, so cross out en, put capitalize B, and we've got die Beratung, consultation, die Beratung, einzahlen, yeah? To make a payment, einzahlen, again, get rid of en, put instead, die Einzahlung. By the way, you've got those cash machines, right? And one of the options is Einzahlung, and another one is based on the verb auszahlen. Auszahlung. That's right. So money in or money out. Nummer 3 ist sitzen. Sitzung. A session. Sitzung. And number 4, wohnen. Die Wohnung. So I've got some homework for you guys. Do a little research and leave me a comment in the comments section down below. 3 nouns that are formed based on this principle. Wohnen, Wohnung. Beraten, Beratung. Sitzen, Sitzung. Einzahlen, Einzahlung. So I've come up with Auszahlung. 3 nouns. Okay, we'll catch up next week and we'll start off with those words. Entspannt euch. Relax. It's the end of lesson number 7. We did it. Sehr, sehr gut. Weiter so. Keep it up. This topic, I wouldn't say it's a super complicated one. As long as you have this information at the front of your consciousness or at the back of your mind, pick and choose which one suits you, then you know how German operates, then you know why an is at the end of the sentence, or up, or weg, or mit, right? It's all about knowing, having this information, right? Because I get asked a question, German in 30 days, are you pulling my leg? No, I'm not. Obviously, it's about the fundamentals, the essentials, right? The skeleton. And then we need to build up, to level up, to practice, to speak, to write, and so on and so forth. So, I wish you joy, success on your learning journey. I hope it's been helpful. If you have any questions, drop me a line in the comments down below, and I will see you next week with lesson number 8. Bye guys. Tschüss, zusammen.